Wow, that is clean. Blue is my favorite color, so I love it, and it's matte. And wow, thank you Caseology so much for sending me all these beautiful accessories. I'm gonna be filming a day in life video with the Pixel 8a soon with Caseology, so make sure to stay tuned to that because it's gonna be awesome. Alright, if my voice sounds weird, it's because I'm sick right now. But anyways, I just spent a week with the newly released Google Pixel 8a and I have some thoughts about it. It seems like everyone's discrediting the price of the Pixel 8a, saying that it's too expensive at $499 and too close to the price of the Pixel 8. And while yes, I do see their point and wish the starting price was lower, I think that heavily depends on where you're located and also the perspective that you're coming from. To start off, in the US, it's a $200 price difference, although the US always has great deals, so I'm sure you can find it for much cheaper. My country, Canada, though, on the other hand, does not always have the same promotions that the US has, not to mention our products are expensive, with the difference between the two phones after tax being a whopping $305, which is quite a big difference. I'm sure there are other countries with big price discrepancies, like here in Canada, and $300 is a big deal. You can pick up a couple more accessories with that money, and to some people, they just might want to pocket that money, especially for those who can't afford anything more. And now about perspective, as a content creator, sometimes those of us in the tech community always strive for the best features as possible in every product, but we just have to realize that a lot of people just don't care. They just want a phone that can last them reliably through a couple of years to use, to pass down to the children and siblings later, and also have a good enough camera to capture great memories. And that's exactly what Google has done with this phone over the past few generations, which I've given them a lot of praise for. Now let's talk about what's changed and how it compares to the Pixel 8. Also, thank you Google for sending me a review unit to keep, but this video is not sponsored and they don't get to see any of the content before you do, so it's completely my honest opinion. So just like the revamped Pixel 8 design, we get super rounded corners this year, which makes the phone more comfortable to hold, not to mention making the phone look more fun in my opinion. The matte aluminum rails and the new metal cover on the camera bar also looks dope, especially since it's color matched with the phone in this beautiful blue color I have called Bay. Blue is my favorite color, so of course I'm biased, but they absolutely nailed this shade of blue, and they also have another vibrant green color called Aloe. And for those of you who still don't like fun colored phones, you get the elegant porcelain and sleek obsidian colors. Now, something I do like this year is the addition of a matte finish, which despite it being plastic, feels good in the hand and should reduce the amount of scratches, as my little brother's Pixel 6a got scratched up so badly despite it being in a case all the time. And despite it being a plastic back too, there is wireless charging, which is great, just not reverse wireless charging. I really can't remember the last time I actually used that, and I'm curious, do any of you guys actually find reverse wireless charging useful? Also, just a side note here, if you want to help a young man reach his dreams of being a YouTuber, please consider subscribing to the channel, as every single sub helps me out so much, and thank you in advance. Anyways, once we flip to the front is where the most obvious difference lies, and it's a huge thick bezels, which are not gonna lie, kind of unsightly, especially with the big chin, and funny enough, the bezels make the phone ever so slightly wider than the Pixel 8, despite it having 0.1 inch less screen. And because of that, the phones are nearly identical in weight, with the Pixel 8a being 1 gram heavier. Anyways, moving past that, the most surprising upgrade was the display being identical to the Pixel 8, which is crazy. This means we get up to 2000 nits of peak brightness, which is absolutely crazy for a phone of this price, and we also get 120 Hz. And yes, you heard that right, finally 120 Hz, which Apple still continues to not give on their base model iPhones. I find it kind of weird that Google has the phone to run 60 Hz from the setup instead of 120, but my theory is that most people can't notice the difference and Google wants the users to have better battery life instead. But regardless, this screen makes the phone feel so much less like a budget device and much more premium, which I really have to applaud Google for. It doesn't feel like Google has skimped out on anything either with this phone as well. The fingerprint sensor seems to be the same, as it's fast and reliable just like the Pixel 8 and miles better than any of its older iterations. The face unlock also works the exact same way, and just like the Pixel 8, it uses the same security standards, so you can actually use it to unlock sensitive apps like banking or password managers, which is very useful. Even the haptics feel great, which is super important to the feel of the phone, and I just love typing on this compact screen, especially with my favorite keyboard ever, Gboard, and if you know, you know. There are even no downsides in performance either, because it uses the exact same Tensor G3 chip as the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro, which to this day still perform very well.
It often gets a lot of slack for having not so great benchmark scores compared to other chips, but honestly, I've never felt like these phones have lacked in any way for the type of usage I do. Even gaming is honestly fine with this phone, and I'm glad to report that I haven't experienced any type of overheating yet, even in the 20+ degree weather, as it's the summertime now. It even gets the same 8 gigs of RAM as the Pixel 8, which means that you can keep a lot of apps open without having to reload them when you open up them later in the day. Pixel UI also just performs really smoothly in general. There's so many awesome AI features that I'll dive deep into in my full review, but something I just want to point out really quickly is that if you long press the home button, you actually get the new circle to search feature just like on the Galaxy devices. It's super cool because you can circle or highlight anything on your screen to pull up a Google search, and it even works in a camera app as well, so it's like Google Lens on steroids, and something I actually enjoy a lot. I also appreciate the fact that this phone has the same promise of having 7 years of OS upgrades, which is huge, and actually will be supported over half a year longer than the Pixel 8 because this just came out, although I don't know if anyone will actually be using any phone for over 7 years. I mean, my friend's little brother still uses the Pixel 2 XL, and it still works great, so hey, you never know. And now, the only major difference between the Pixel 8a and the Pixel 8 is the cameras, in which every single lens is different. Now, I haven't done any extensive testing comparing both the phones yet, which I will do later, but if history is anything to go by, that shouldn't be a major issue for most people. It'll always be identical in 90% of most scenarios due to the fact that Google does most of its magic through its processing, and year after year, it's just consistently been one of the best looks from any phone. Photos are always very sharp and vibrant, ready for social media posting, and there's no shutter lag issues ever, not to mention the plethora of camera editing tricks, which I'll talk about in my full review as well. It's just a solid phone camera to use, and I really have no complaints, especially at this price point. Now, of course, I will do a full deep dive in a full review and test them extensively against the Pixel 8, so make sure to stay tuned for that by subbing to the channel and turning on my notifications. Also, leave any comments you have down below for any questions you want me to answer, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. And on that note, if you guys stayed till the end, thank you so much for watching, and make sure to drop a sunglasses emoji so I know you guys are a real one. Have a great one, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.